Men of Israel, blow trumpets. Trumpets down.
Holy Father, we come before thee, Lord. We've given you mercy. Thank Lord. Oh, man. Holy Father, we come before thee, Lord, not because we righteous above all, but because we stand in the throne of your grace. We asking you for mercy. Thank you so much for the mercy you have for us today and every day. We have action for the mercy. Now we're here now, and you'll pass over, Father. Guide us, protect us, be a shield to us. We also pray for Soldier Tyrese, who's going to the medical field, Father, that we pray that you heal that brother with all this sickness. We also pray for those that are sick among us, God. Heal them quickly and speedily. In the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ, Father, we thank you. We glorified you. Our Father, who in heaven, honor be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as it is in heaven, let it be on earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our sin. Forgive other sins against us. And lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from all evil. We also pray for our leadership. We also pray for our brothers and sisters. Father, you may strengthen their faith. Remove from us spirit of fear. Let the whole congregation say hallelujah. 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 Father, we also thank you for the Passover. We also thank you for the drink and for the lamb we are about to receive and for the food. In Christ we pray, we ask, amen.
Men of Israel, sons of God, patient saints, sons of God, and salute. Salute, down, face, sisters. To the honorable daughters of Sarah, we say shalom.
Brothers and sisters, find a seat. We're going to go straight into it. Find a seat. We're late. Shalom, 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 family. Happy Passover to all of you. As we're waiting for our brother, for the captain to show up. They're about 2 minutes away, so before Bishop jump into it. But before Bishop jump into it, I just want to make something clear too. Because I was watching some videos today on social media. And I I just want to put it out there. We in IUIC, we ain't owe nobody no explanation to nothing we do. Most of God, whatever we do for the nation, most of God put in us. Most of God is using us for His glory to take this thing to the next level. Because I was listening to Bishop did a class Saturday. He said, he make a statement. He said, anybody say, Christ is not going to come down from heaven to teach you nothing. And I always go over that. I always tell you guys, the scripture said, somebody have to touch you. Christ picked 12 apostles. He taught them 40 reasons and then he sent them out. You don't just wake up and open the Bible and learn it. It doesn't work like that. Somebody have to touch you. That's what Paul say, be ye a follower of me as I'm a follower of Christ. Isn't that what he said? So now, what Bishop was saying is, Bishop is saying, hey, anybody who said, oh, I'm only gonna how did God go? Taught by Christ. Taught by Christ. He's the damn demon. That's what he was saying. And that's exactly what we're saying too. Christ is not going to come down from heaven and teach nothing. Christ opened the spirit of ways of certain men to teach them. Same thing Christ raised up the apostles. When you look at the perfect example is Paul. Paul didn't walk with Christ. But Paul said, I was taught this by Christ himself. Why would he say that? But Paul was not the top apostle. Peter was. So for some of you thinking, IUIC, we have to explain to you this. No, we don't have to explain to you nothing. Why don't you go to the actual pastor to explain to you what he do with your money? Don't ask us nothing. We don't have to explain nothing to y'all.
It's just a lot. A lot of time we face brothers and sisters. Yeah, I mean, they think they know it all. But, yeah, I mean, we are here for the righteous. We came to get the soul of the righteous. They're here with the rest. Because they're going to die. Here's like Deacon Isab like to say. You know what I mean? A lot of times we feel like, our people, they've been in Christian church, yet never asked the pastor anything. But now the Lord is picking us and to guide you and to lead you the right way. Then there have to be something wrong. Maybe it's a conspiracy. Because our mind is not right, man. Our mind is not right. It's like I had a class one day. I said, when your mind is converted, everything about you going to be converted. You understand? The way you talk, the way you move, the people you talk to, what kind of environment you're gonna allow to. But a lot of y'all got fringes on, but your mind is not converted yet. That's why your guys entertain stupidity on Facebook, stupidity and whatever media outlet they had this thing out here. You're gonna find out guess what? These medias is gonna be some of your downfall. Go ahead.
Hey, give me Judges. Give me Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. Because another thing I heard today is we don't really have to keep the Passover, not really, because the Bible said He removed everything from us. He took everything. Christ is going to give us back. We have to wait when to back in the wilderness. Christ is going to give us. Give me verse 11. You guys go ahead. Listen to these simple Negroes on Facebook. They're going to cause a lot of you to get put to death. Go ahead, listen to them. You guys go ahead, follow them.
The book of Judges.
And I'm going to tell you guys right now. Mosiah God is going to bring heavy judgment on your Negroes who's causing the people of Mosiah God to break His laws. Heavy judgment coming on, it's going to come up on you. Just wait for it. It's coming. Just wait. Go ahead.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
The place of drawing water means captivity. It's here in America, in Haiti, Santo Domingo, wherever we are leading captivity. That's what it's talking about. Read.
There shall they rehearse the righteous act.
So guess what? Keeping the Passover is rehearse the righteous act. No matter where you are today, you got to keep the Passover. We got brothers in Sierra Leone, they're keeping the Passover. We got brothers in Ghana, they're keeping the Passover. No matter where you end up in the captivity, you will have to. What does rehearse the Watcher Acts mean? And now you all can understand this. Rehearse the Watcher Act mean you have to keep those high holidays. Whatever the Bible said, you got to do it. And guess what? You got to do it according to what the law said. It said lamb, better herbs, unleavened bread. That's what you got to use to keep it. Not cooking fish, not cooking hot dogs, not stove stuffing.
Yeah, you notice, the word of God become a burden to them. You know what I mean? That's why they don't want to keep nothing. They don't want to do nothing. Go ahead, Deacon.
Yeah, I like the fact that Deacon Malachi pulled up Judges 5 and 11. Could he read that again? I want to deal with the first part of that.
Judges chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers.
Now, the scriptures throughout the Bible, Bishop brings it out often when he brings the scripture out that explains that the scriptures are double in meaning. Okay? So it's talking about the future as well. Read that top part again.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers.
Archers are arrows, the bow and arrows. The people that shoot bow and arrows, they are known as archers, like what they call archery for bow and arrows. Noise, arrows don't make noise. The kind of arrows that this is talking about is the noise that the book of Peter is talking about when it says with a great destruction. It said, and they with a great noise. That's the noise of archers that it's talking about and us being delivered from that. Okay, so we are to rehearse the righteous acts all the way up to the time of delivery, like the book of Peter's talk about. When the book of Peter's, give me that real quick, Peter's. Then I'm going to get Jeremiah. Then I'm going to pass it on. Get Peter 3, you know the one, the thief in the night.
Yes, sir.
The noise of archers. The Bible is not lying when it says that the devil shall come down upon you with great wrath because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Here we got brothers bugging out over foolishness when the scriptures is coming to pass. Read.
2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night.
But the day of the Lord, that's the deliverance. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night when you ain't going to expect it. Go ahead.
In the
but
which
the time is short. Go ahead. In the which
the heavens shall pass away with a great noise.
That's the noise that's going to come from those archers, those missiles, with a great noise, boom, and destruction. So while that is going to be happening and leading up to that, the times is going to get rough. That's what the Most High is telling. He's trying to let us know that. Now give me Jeremiah. Jeremiah 16 and 14 to 15.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
This is for us to remember because the time has not come at this immediate time and hour right now. So our remembrance is still about Egypt. Our remembrance is still about what we went through when we were delivered out of Egypt. That's what's still being talked about now. So we sometimes need to think about the time that is going to start to bring into the earth. Everybody's going crazy over corona this, corona that, curfew set up, blockages have set up, executive orders and all kind of things, and everything is going wild. But just imagine us being in the midst of all of that, and then the Most High sends a tornado while that's going on, sends a Katrina while that's going on, sends other plagues, sends 10 more plagues while that's going on. And then the whole world realizes that all of this is happening because of the children of Israel. That's what's happening. When the Most High brought those plagues on Egypt, you had every house, there was a member of the house dead. And they said, this is happening because of you. That's the reason why we had to get the hell out. We didn't have time to worry about how much we gave and this and that. What you was bringing out, Malachi said we don't have to explain nothing. You ain't going to be wanting to explain nothing at that time because they're going to be on your behind to kill us. So I want you to think about the climate of what was going on back then. They didn't have no time to complain about how Moses was talking with the people and how he was trying to gather the people up. There was none of that murmuring and foolishness that we hear now. Read it again.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
So I want y'all to really think. Just take a few moments and ponder on the climate that was going on in that time in Goshen when we had to get the hell out of there. There was not one house outside of Israel. I mean, that was outside of Israel, that was not one dead. One cattle was dead, every firstborn was dead. And everybody knew that it was because God was delivering the Israelites, you. So we didn't have no friends then. Our friends was each other. Our friends was our brothers. Our friends was our sisters. Our friends was our sons and daughters. That's what our friends were. And everybody hated us at that time. You don't think that's going on now? You don't think the nation's seeing us mobilizing, coming together? You don't think they see that? It's like every year or so, there's always some new mess that they're trying to come up against this congregation. You had those demons that was with us, the Most High exposed them. They were trying to bring evil against this congregation, all for the works of the devil. And every other year they come up with some other foolishness. And the Most High is saying, listen, I got you. The Most High said, I got you. And when the way things are set up now, we're still able to keep the Passover. Still able to keep the Passover. There ain't nothing going to stop this truth. All right, that was it. I got enough out of that. Go ahead. Y'all want to?
Yeah, you'll notice that. Yeah, you'll notice it's all about they don't want to get rid of their leaven. It's all about leaven, man. When you see men talk like that, it's so much sin within them. They don't want to change their way of life, man. That's why they don't want to keep no feasts. They don't want to keep none of these God's laws because they don't want to get rid of their leaven. So much leaven inside their heart.
Yeah, give me Sirach 27:11. Just to go into how Deacon Yassop was saying, things change from one year to the next. Here's an example of things changing from one year to the next. 1 year you keep it. Now another year you don't got to keep it at all. 1 year you keep it. Another year you can eat whatever you want in that one. But this year you don't got to keep it at all. 27 verse 11.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 27 verse 11. The discourse of a godly man is always with wisdom.
The conversation or teaching of a godly man is always with wisdom. Always. It doesn't change. It stays the same. Go ahead.
But a fool changeth as the moon.
But a fool goes through different phases. One phase is we're Israelites. The next phase is doesn't matter if we're Israelites. One phase is keep the Passover. Unleavened bread, wine, and bitter herbs. The next phase is stovetop stuffing. Frosted Flakes. That's the next phase. One phase is Esau's a white man. The next phase is Esau's the Saudi Arabians. You get the point. They change. They have a new phase every year. Next phase will be Babylon is not America. That's next. Next phase will be America, we're not in captivity. We're still free. It's going to change. The fool changes as the moon. The moon has different phases. So likewise, it's the same thing with the wicked. Next verse.
Verse 12. If thou be among the indiscreet, observe the time.
So we tell y'all, stop watching these videos. Stop listening to these people because they're foolish. Read on.
But be continually among men of understanding.
Because these things we hear about, these doctrines, we hear from word of mouth. I don't watch these dudes, but it's from word of mouth. Because I don't have time for it. It's foolishness. One more, Titus 2:12. This is a precept in the New Testament for Judges 5:11. Titus 2:12.
The book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 12.
No, read verse 11 first.
Verse 11. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men.
All men of Israel all over the world. Watch this.
Teaching us that.
So the grace of God teaches us what?
Denying ungodliness.
So Christ's grace teaches us ungodliness. What is ungodliness? Keeping the commandments, keeping the laws of God. Read on.
And worldly lusts.
And worldly lusts. Go ahead.
We should live soberly,
That we should live soberly, go ahead.
righteously,
Righteously, keeping the commandments again, living righteous, the righteous acts, righteously, same word again. Go ahead.
and godly
And godly, go ahead,
in this present world.
in that present world, which is still this present world, the last days. So Christ's mercy gives us the understanding and ability to keep his laws and live righteously and godly in the present world of captivity, the land of drawing water. That's the present world. All right? Oh, that's it? That's it. That's all.
Yes, sir, that's it.
Let's open up with Proverbs 24. This goes with Deacon Itham was just saying about those that one day they want to serve the Lord, next day they don't. One day Esau is the white man, next day is the Arabs. One day keep the Passover, next day you don't have to keep the Passover. One day we dwell in booths, next day you don't have to dwell in booths. Proverbs 24, verse 21, please.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 24, and verse 21. My son, fear thou the Lord and the king,
Fear thou the Lord and the king. Okay, watch this.
and meddle not with them that are given to change.
When it says, and meddle not with them that are given to change, what are they changing? One day they obey the Lord, the next day they change and say you don't have to obey the Lord. One day they obey the king, then the next day they say you don't have to obey the king. That's what this is talking about. It says, and meddle not with them that are given to change. Read.
Verse 22. For their calamity shall rise suddenly.
The Lord's going to judge these people that roll like that. That's this whole group that ran up out of here. You got a lot of them on Facebook. Go ahead.
And who knoweth the ruin of them both?
And who knoweth the ruin of them both? All right. So from there, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. And this goes what we've been going over with the 7 churches throughout Asia Minor. Across the province of Asia Minor, there's a small island in Greece called Corinth. And this is what the Apostle Paul instructed in 1 Corinthians 5, verse 7. Come up.
1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven.
When it says, purge out therefore the old leaven, remember, when we read in Exodus, and we're going to read that tonight, we were commanded to take all leaven out of our homes, out of our houses. That's when I always say, make sure y'all get that toaster. Everybody forgets the toaster. In your cars, if you got kids, look under the seat of them cars. You know them kids with them damn donuts and cookies? Read that again.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump.
That ye may be a new lump. So it's really going into what? It represents the same way the leaven is taken out of your house, you're taking it out of your heart. And he's going to say that as we read on. Go ahead.
As ye are unleavened.
As ye are unleavened. Come on.
For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
The Passover is represented by Christ. What Christ did is a fulfillment of that sacrifice. Okay? Based on what he did, dying on the cross from us, we are redeemed from the curse of the law. Meaning what? This is our last captivity right here. Go ahead.
Therefore, let us keep the feast.
So they were in Corinth. They were in the island of Corinth. It said, therefore, let us keep the feast. So if somebody's telling you you don't have to keep the feast, they're of the devil. That's right. Paul says, therefore, let us keep the feast. Because the argument could have came, well, you're only supposed to keep the feast in Jerusalem. Paul said to the Corinthians, therefore, let us keep the feast. Then he gets deep on them. Read.
Not with old leaven.
Not with old leaven, that stuff in your house.
Neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness.
Paul said, let me break it down to you right now. All that old leaven that was in your house that you were commanded to take out, it really represents malice and evil in your mind and in your heart. That's what Paul revealed to us. Read that again.
Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
He said, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. From there, let's go to the book of Exodus. Let's open up there. And we're going to start at chapter 1. And deacons, if y'all want to add in something, don't hesitate. All right. I know Lava won't.
You want me to start at verse 1?
Yes.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them.
Just like we are today. Mm-hmm.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
So this is explaining historically about it's called the New Kingdom. The New Kingdom, which came about the 17th dynasty. It was called the New Kingdom, 17th and 18th dynasty. Read that again.
Verse 8, Exodus chapter 1, verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt.
Now many books say that this new king was Amos the first. Amos, the Ahmose, the first. Go ahead.
Which knew not Joseph.
And he knew nothing about the history of Joseph, because prior to this new family taking over Egypt, you had the Hyksos period that was up in there. All right? Which were another family that took over Egypt. Canaanites. Read.
And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Just like we are today, more and mightier than those that are here. Esau. Go ahead.
Come on, and let us deal wisely with them.
Come on and let us deal wisely with them. Now, let me show you something about that where it says, come on and let us deal wisely with them. When you go to the Psalms, the 83rd chapter, the prophet David, King David, said something very similar. Psalms 83 and verse 3. Remember what we just read? It said, let us deal wisely with them. Watch what it says in Psalms 83, verse 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
You see that? And this is talking about now in these latter days. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Ancient Egypt said, let's deal wisely with them. In other words, let's take crafty counsel against them. It's talking about the same exact thing. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Let's go back to Exodus. Let's go right on back to Exodus. Chapter 1. What verse was that in?
That was verse 10.
Go ahead, read that again.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
Now, what they did, when you read on in the next chapters, you read about taskmasters being set up in Egypt. They gave Israelites high positions in Egypt, all right, which kept us in that mindset. That's why when you read about what's his name? Dathan, Korah, and On, and Abiram, them dudes wanted to go back to Egypt. Why? Because they had high positions in Egypt. They got paid, okay? They had wives in Egypt. They wanted to keep that lifestyle. And not just them, those are the main guys, but you had a lot of Israelite men at that time who had high key positions in Egypt. Guess what? Just like today. That's a part of them dealing wisely with us. That's a part of them having crafty counsel towards us, okay? That's why they always bring out these men and women with key positions, whether they're senators, assemblymen, whatever. And they're the ones that speak to us and calm crowds down and all of that. The same thing was occurring back then. Go back to Exodus. Read that again.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies.
Just like today. They say, well, you know what? We don't want these black and brown people joining with the Arabs or any other enemy that comes up against this country. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to give them key positions, give them money, give them homes and houses, allow them to do this and that. That way they will keep America great. It's the same thing back here in Egypt. Read that again. Go ahead, sir.
Come on.
Hold on.
Oh, that's to break up the unity. The same thing that they're trying to do now. Same thing. You set taskmasters up over the people that keep them from uniting. Same thing now. Same stuff is going on now.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
So you know what I wanted? Y'all see that part about I mentioned about the new kingdom? Who's over there? Alicia's over there, or put up the essential a Wikipedia on the 18th dynasty. Can we pull that up on the screen, please? Pull up on the screen. So I just want to briefly reference what we read in Exodus chapter 1 and verse 8, where it said, now there arose up a new king over Egypt. So I just want to touch on the 18th dynasty, because that's the most famous dynasty that the majority of us may read about now and then in school and or college. Let's go down. So this dynasty was about 250 years. Now remember, we were here about 400 years. We were at 400 years. Go down. I just want to show y'all some of the pharaohs. There's Amos the first. Okay, go ahead. Amenhotep the first. These were the pharaohs that ruled over us with rigor. They were not our friends, and the custom was, when any of these pharaohs died, their servants was put in the tomb with them to take them and take care of them in the so-called afterlife. That's why in those tombs, like when you see them, y'all saw X-Men? I forgot the name of it. What's that last X? Yes, Apocalypse. Where they're inside a tomb, and you see the dead pharaoh in there, and you see pictures of Egyptian slaves on the wall, and the servants are in there. So now you got Amenhotep the first, you got Thutmose the first, come on. Thutmose the second. Hatshepsut, that was the first female pharaoh right there. Hatshepsut. Go ahead. Thutmose the third. Amenhotep the second. Go ahead. Thutmose the fourth. Go ahead. Amenhotep the third. And can you zoom in on Amenhotep the third? Can you just zoom in and click that? Amenhotep was the one I just saw his picture. Yeah, that one right there. I want y'all to get a good look at that nose. And the reason I'm doing that, because Esau put images up of these guys as Europeans. Yep. That's what they do. And that's why you got a lot of Edomites. I said, no, the ancient Egyptians were wide. They were wide. No, they weren't. What'd you say, Aithan?
Saying that in Nigeria also. You had our people in Nigeria saying the same foolishness, that the Egyptians is white.
Exactly.
Madness.
They're getting mixed up when the Ptolemy dynasty took over after the time of Alexander the Greek, which was around 333 BC. They had to get their timelines correct. Go down. Amenhotep the fourth, also called Akhenaten. He brought in monotheism, meaning the worship of one God. Go ahead. I can't pronounce it. Yeah, that one. That's what he said. Go ahead. You got I can say that one. Oh, go up. Oh, you skip that one. Tutankhamun. Wait, you skipped a whole bunch. Come on, go back down. What the hell? After that one. That one I can't pronounce either. Nephron, whatever. Yeah. That. Tutankhamun, the boy king. Everybody knows about that guy, King Tut, right? Everybody. Wait. I want to look at the year. Remember, they called him the boy king. See the time? Pull it down. Come on, I want to look. Oh, God, where did it go? Oh, God. Is Abiel over there? All right, 1332. Now, the one thing about Egyptian years, I'll tell you this. Yeah. I always say approximate. Some books will have complete different years. So don't hold to these years. That's why I'm like, I just deal with dynasties. But them, because different books have different years. What are you going to say, Aithan?
King Tut's parents were brother and sister. And because of them being brother and sister so close, he was born with a lot of deformities. He had like mad canes in his tomb. He had a retarded leg. He was messed up, jacked up.
He died around the age of, 11 or 12?
Yeah, he died young because he was deformed from his parents being close siblings. Yep. He was jacked up.
Right, because the woman was the one that held the throne. It was through her bloodline, so you had to marry the woman to become pharaoh. All right, so under that, you got A-Y. Good. Isn't there a brother named A? That's funny. Right. Go down. Up. Horemheb. Go ahead. And that was it. Okay. Go to the next one. No, hold that. Yeah. Go to the next one. 19th dynasty. Let me show y'all this. So we came in the 17th dynasty. Remember, they said right there that 18th dynasty was about 250 years. So now you got to go back earlier to that. We're to 17th dynasty. We left during the 19th dynasty. The 19th dynasty started with Ramses the First. Okay, then came Seti the First. This Seti the First is when Moses was a child. He grew up under. Y'all see the movie The Ten Commandments? They have Moses around this time period with Seti the First. Moses becomes an adult. Go ahead, raise it. Under this guy, Ramses the Second. Okay, that's y'all see the cartoons and all that. Ramses the Second is the one we made the Exodus from under. Okay, that was the king right there. And we're going to show you that a little later on. Okay. As a matter of fact, you know what I'll do? Since I made the statement, I don't want to forget. I'm going to get it right now. As we read down, when we get to Ramses, who's reading for me? When we get down to verse 11, remind me about Ramses.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what verse you in now?
I'm in verse 10.
Okay.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that, when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
Now, y'all see that word taskmaster? Find me that precept where it said they beat the taskmasters, and Israel cried, saying, why do you beat us? Who knows what that one is? It's been such a long while. Exodus 5:14. Thank you, Zeph.
The book of Exodus, chapter 5 and verse 14. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmaster had set over them, were beaten and demanded, wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick both yesterday and today?
So that when I was explaining a little earlier where it said, let us deal wisely with them, and I was saying that they gave us key positions throughout Egypt, here's the proof. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, they put them in key positions. That's why they didn't want to leave Egypt. They said, no, we got it good here. We got money, we got food, there's enough to eat. That's why a lot of Israelites wanted to go back to Egypt. Go back to Exodus 1.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
So these treasure cities if you ever visit Egypt, there's something they call Valley of the Kings. And it's the Israelites built that. That's where you find these treasure cities or tombs right there. So notice it says Ramses. You'll have some people will say nobody knows the name of the Pharaoh wherein Israel made their exodus. And that's not true. The proof is here. It gives his name right there where it says Ramses. I'm going to give you another one. Go to Genesis 47 and 11.
The book of Genesis, chapter 47, verse 11. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren, and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded.
Now, what's odd about that during the time of Joseph, I just showed you the time period, there was no Ramses. He wasn't born yet. Ramses would be born almost over 400 years later. So then the question is, why does it say in the land of Ramses? Watch this. 2nd Ezra, is it 14 I want? Give me that. 2nd Ezra 14. Because people say, see, the Bible's wrong. It says Ramses there. Ramses wasn't born yet. How did it say in the land of Ramses during the time of Joseph? He came almost 400 years later. 2nd Ezra 14 and start at 3.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 3. Then said he unto me, in the bush, I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt. And I sent him, and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up to the mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season.
40 days, 40 nights, that's the long season. Go ahead.
And told him many wondrous things.
And told him many wondrous things.
And showed him the secrets of the time.
And showed him the secrets of the times. Go ahead.
and the end.
So Moses even saw what's happening here. Guess what? Moses saw Corona. That's right. Moses saw it all. He saw everything that we are going through now. Moses saw it. Go ahead.
And commanded him, saying,
Now, hold on. What I want y'all to see is verse 5. While Moses was up on Mount Sinai, it says, and told him many wondrous things and showed him the secrets of the times. So who wrote the first 5 books of, about to say, the first 5 books? It was Moses. So when Moses was writing the first 5 books and giving details, now go back to Genesis 47, what we just read. Remember, this was for the children of Israel at his time. Genesis 47 took place way before Moses, but God is giving Moses the history. So read that again, Genesis 47 and verse 11.
Genesis chapter 47, verse 11. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a...
When Moses was born, Joseph had been dead 400 years already. But God is telling Moses and showing Moses the history. Go ahead.
And gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses.
In the land of, there was a place called the land of Ramses, which was Goshen. So Moses knew that. He said, let me tell y'all where, in case Israelites said, where's this land? He said in the land of Ramses, because they all at that time period of Moses knew the land of Ramses was that place of Goshen. They knew that thing. Watch this. Get Exodus 12. Exodus 12, verse 37.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 37. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth.
See that? And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses. And it's telling you not just the land, but it's telling you the Pharaoh that was ruling at that time was Ramses. Go ahead.
About 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children.
Go from there, go to Numbers 33, verse 3.
The book of Numbers, chapter 33, verse 3. And they departed from Ramses.
They departed from who?
From Ramses.
Go ahead.
In the first month.
So don't let nobody fool you. Nobody knows the name of the Pharaoh. They're wherein Israel made the Exodus. That's a lie. Go ahead.
In the first month, on the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out with an high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians.
Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. And the children of Israel removed from Ramses and pitched in Succoth.
Mm-hmm. Y'all see that? So now let's go back to where we were at originally. Exodus chapter 1. All right.
Verse 11.
Yeah, verse 11 again.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
Read.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Right. Just like the same plots they had back then, they had to have against our people today. And they're shocked that we keep multiplying. Read.
Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
Y'all see that? With rigor. Read.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
Right. And you know what? Remember in the United States of America here, they said that there was no slavery in the north parts. That was a damn lie. Many people in school, I remember them teaching us there was no slavery in the north. That's why Harriet Tubman all tried to get the Underground Railroad to go to the north. But then they uncovered the burial
grounds in downtown Manhattan
and found all those skeletons down there, slaves with shackles on them from the ages of what? Was it 5 and up? 5 and up with chains on them, dead. It's proven that they've been lying for years, for decades, and upon decades to us. Read that again.
Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they were made to serve was with rigor.
Read.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah.
So these were 2 famous midwives. Go ahead.
And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools.
Because that's how they delivered babies. Not on their back. They sat down upon stools, and gravity helped pull a baby. They didn't get an epidural in the lower back. Laying on the back, screaming, push. They sat down like they do on a stool. Read.
If it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
This was the beginning of abortions. They said if it's a boy baby, kill that boy. Yeah, right, eugenics. This is why we always tell you, sisters, the black man, and brown and black man, we've always had it bad. From this time on forward, you go, oh, no, we got it bad too. Y'all ain't got it bad like we got it bad. They want to get rid of the males. Why? Because the males carry what? The genes, the race.
Remember, the CDC got caught focusing on giving the male babies immunizations to give them autism. It was written documents of them targeting males, children with autism. And eventually it spilled over into the Edomite male babies, and they started opening, and all of a sudden it was exposed because it began to affect their children. So you have the eugenics program and CDC all conspiring to destroy Israelite males.
Exactly. Read on.
Verse 17. But the midwives feared God.
And this is what the Lord's looking for in these last days. Because this great and high holy day, the Passover, the Lord is looking for those that fear him. And the only sisters he's looking for out of the women are those women that fear him. He ain't looking for the sister that calls their husband a bad. Not her. She going to stay right here. Right here. Goodbye and good riddance. Read that again.
But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
See that? They didn't fear the king. They didn't fear the king at all. They feared God. They said, we're going to do what the Lord said. Read.
But saved the men children alive. Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them.
So these women was against abortion. They said, no, you're not aborting our children, our boys. You're not doing it. We're not following. This is some beautiful history here. This gives me chills. I love when I read this and hear this history. Because when you look at our people today, we're a mess.
You know, it's important to understand about these wonderful, courageous sisters, because they understood, although it was the king's law, so to speak, if the king's law goes against God's law, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Keep the Most High's law. That's how that goes, okay? That's how that goes. To have our children murdered is against the laws of God. That's the reason why the sisters didn't do that, okay? And our Passover is in accordance to the law, again. So we're keeping the laws of God. Just want y'all to understand that.
You know, it's amazing. Maybe last week or other week, 2 weeks ago, there's a council right over there where Barnabas is. So I just happened to go by, and I said, well, what are they counseling about? Oh, the sister is, her and her husband, she wants to abort her baby that she's about to have. I said, is she part of this congregation? How long she been with us? 2 years. You mean she been here for 2 years, kept 2 Passovers, and she's sitting here talking about she want to abort her baby? They don't believe. They don't fear God. I would be ashamed to go up in front of any man or woman and say, I want to abort this baby that I'm about to have. That's insane. That's a devil with a blue dress.
Damn.
Yes.
And based upon that, Bishop, again with the CDC, when they unearthed the documents of them targeting young black males, who was trying to get rid of the papers or get rid of them, the evidence? The black woman that worked there. So how far we fallen even now?
Read on.
Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives.
Yeah, sit with a blue dress because she's sitting right here now. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And said unto them, why have ye done this thing? And have saved the men children alive.
Oh, they don't like me, I done. But it's okay. I love y'all. Go ahead.
And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
They said these Hebrews, these Israelites, are not like the Hamites. Go ahead.
For they are lively.
They are lively.
And are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them.
They are born before the midwives even get there, them babies come out. Now that's some heavy stuff right there. Go ahead.
Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty.
When it says did well for the midwife, I think it tells you later on what he did for them. Does it say later on? Yes, it says. Read on.
And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses.
Now you sit there. So what is it? So he made them out. I don't get it. He gave. Hey, that's a heavy statement. Then not only did they get nice, flourished, big houses in Egypt, but the Lord's letting you know they're gonna have a spiritual house too. These two women. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river.
Wow.
And every daughter ye shall save alive.
And every daughter shall you save alive. Okay, all right. All right, then. So now we know the rest of the history here. Later on in the next chapter, Moses is born. His older sister Miriam takes him down the river. Yes.
Before you move on to about every son, I want to add something to it. You know, it's the same thing today as far as you see how they're pushing that homosexuality on our school, because their plan is for our young men to become homos, so they won't reproduce. That's another way of pushing. You know, they try abortion, they didn't succeed. So now the thing is what now is pushing that homosexuality on our children, and they start very, very early, especially in the school system. Now they start putting in cartoon all over the place, so they keep pushing on us. So our children will grow up and thinking it's okay. That's another way to stop us from reproduce. Because they try everything. No matter what they try, they cannot stop it. So now they say, you know what? That's another way to stop us.
Go to Exodus chapter 2. We're just going to get to the last few verses. Exodus chapter 2, verse 23 down.
The book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 23.
This Moses has, no, go ahead, read.
And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died.
Right, that's Seti. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob.
This covenant is the same covenant and reason that Christ came on the scene, like it tells us in Luke, the 1st chapter, about the covenant God made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He don't break. When the Lord makes an agreement, he doesn't break his agreement. Read.
And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them.
You know why I like that part? It says, and God had respect unto them. This is the precept that kills a Christian that loves the pole, Acts 10:34. Get that real quick.
The book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons.
Now, we just read in Exodus that God has respect unto the children of Israel. But let's see what Peter is making reference to when it says, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons. Verse 35.
Verse 35. But in every nation,
go ahead.
He that feareth him, and worketh righteousness, is accepted with him.
So they go, see, God has respect to anybody. But watch what the next verse says.
The word which God sent unto the children of Israel.
That's the respect right there. The children of Israel that fear God and work righteousness amongst all the nations. That's who God has respect to. That's who he's looking for. He's not looking for Esau. He's not looking for Moab or the Jebusite or the Hittite. Go ahead.
Preaching peace by Jesus Christ. He is Lord of all.
Back to Exodus. Let's jump down now to Exodus 4, and let's read verse 6. Just hit some key points real quick.
The book of
Exodus 3 and verse 9. I like that.
Exodus chapter 3, verse 9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I've also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them.
What I want you to understand, this holiday, this high holiday, is about deliverance from oppression. Are our people oppressed here in America?
Yes, sir.
You better believe it. So when I hear people say, you don't got to keep it, you're an idiot. You're a dummy. You want to respect and honor days of deliverance from oppression. Why? Because we're waiting for our days of deliverance from oppression. And you want your sons and daughters to respect and honor this day because our day is coming soon. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Chapter 4 now. Chapter 4 and verse 6 and 7.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto
This is what
him.
the Lord says to Moses. Because Moses, he had his little doubts in his mind. Go ahead.
Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
So what would be the miracle if Moses was already a Caucasian? I mean, he would have said, what? Lord, I don't understand. My hand was this color before I put it in. It's the same color. This lets you know that Moses was black. That lets you know, behold, his hand was leprous as snow because he was a black man. Read. Yeah, go ahead, y'all.
They in the history books, they got wall relief plaques of what the Israelites looked like back then. Okay, we got pictures of them. Can I show real quick, Bishop? Hey, Amaziah, can you send that to the brothers?
Yes, sir. Officer List, you have it?
Start with the go to the so they can see the name of the book. Go, come on, click it. Let me see. Get to the part with about the. I got the page up there. Jewish civilization. That one. How many pictures you send? You send all of them? Yeah, that's the name of the book there. Okay, this book was very expensive. It was used. This was and this book here, they have writing in it because Edomites was passing it backwards and forwards to each other.
Right. You know what's heavy about that, Deacon? I think I was speaking with Captain Jan about that. Somebody. Mm-hmm. A lot of the books we got from Strands.
Right.
And
That's where this one came from.
Order these books. I thought, there'll be used books, and it'll say to my godson or grandson or something, showing you, like Yahweh said, they pass it amongst each other.
Right.
They make sure we don't get these books.
Right. I got that picture. I'm going to send that to you.
You read, you say Jewish civilization and go, that's not for us. That's not about us. But you're going to see your face in them books. But letting you know that when Esau tries to make mockery of the camps and go, you're a liar, the Israelites were white. Those be the same ones with these books. They are the devil the Bible speaks of. Make no mistake.
Officer List, I sent you 2 more.
Right. This stuff is heavy, And you may never think of this as a small thing. It's great. This history is fantastic. It's greater than your Easter, whatever that crap what the hell is a bunny rabbit got to do with eggs? You run and got your kid. I remember when I was a kid, we said wear these damn tight-ass little suits, excuse my language, paint eggs and run around the lawn looking for eggs. The hell is this?
Exactly. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Send it to the brothers. This right here,
the
last one I just sent you. It's got the price of the used book in it. I wanted to get a picture of that too. From Strand's bookstore, $30 for a used book. Show it. Then I got the writing.
The one with the cursive writing on it.
Y'all see it? Come on now. We go to sleep fast. We got to get it up there. Pauses just make problems. You got it? Can we see it? This is out of the same book. I'm going to show you that piece right there. You see that yellow sticker? Look at the year. That was when the book was sold from a man named, he said, "Dear Seth, best wishes to you on this special day from Raymond, Montana." Those are Edomites. Okay, so they was passing the books backwards. It's used. So what happens after a while? They donate the books or give the books to the bookstore. Then we will go there and buy them, and they tell us we're in the wrong section. Remember that. All right, so this is that book there. Go back to the other page.
They used to tell us, wouldn't you like to go to the Black
African,
history or the African section? We're like, no, we don't want to go to those sections.
So we're in the right section. Do we pull the book off the shelf and show them that we're in the right section with the Israelites in it? Now go to the other pictures. Yeah, thank you. Come on, the pictures that I had before. That's the granaries. When we were talking about the taskmaster, since you got it up there. When we were talking about the taskmaster, this is a model get the writing. There's some writing that explains what this is. Just click through it. I know what I'm looking at. Just click to the next picture. I'm going to go back to this for a second. I ain't going to keep you, Bishop. Zoom in on that. It says opposite page, a model of the granary. Taxes were paid in produce And the wheat collected in this way was stored in state granaries scattered throughout Egypt. Okay, this is how Pharaoh had all those granaries for the 7 years and all that. That's where the wheat was stored at. But notice what it says up under it. At the right, the taskmaster, I underlined it, stick in hand, okay, stands over the people to supervise their work. Now let's find out. Go to the picture with the granary. No, the other picture that we were looking at earlier. The picture that just showed, and I was explaining it. Yes, that's it, underneath there. Underneath, get rid of that one. That's the granary there, okay? And look at the color. That's what I want y'all to see. Look at the color of the people. Black. You see that? And it tells you back in the writing, it tells you where this model is kept at to this very day in the museums. Now let's go to the other pictures. The pictures there. Now let's zoom in on that. Look at those clay face, those plaques there. Now let's zoom in on the writing. It says the thousands, the highlighted part. The thousands of war captives who were transformed into slaves made it possible for the Egyptian kings to implement their feats of engineering. Here's the part that I want. Chain captives are shown on these painted clay facing plaques from a building erected by Ramses II. That's the time period that we was reading about. So who are the slaves? Who are the slaves? The Israelites. So that's what you're looking at. Go back, look at the pictures. Zoom in, look at the facial features. Don't tell me they didn't have color. Look at the other one on the other side. You see the garment as opposed to the face.
Wait, y'all stop, Deacon, look. They have the same yolks of iron that we had in America.
You see that?
Can y'all find America picture with the yoke of iron? I just want to do a comparison.
Bishop. You know you got to get it in.
There's some beautiful stuff here.
Yes, sir. So you're not looking at comic books.
We want to do a comparison, Elisha. That's some heavy stuff right there. Just put yolks of iron. Go to Google. It don't take that long, Elisha. Come on, Elisha. Is Abiel over there? I know.
And this is what our enemies don't want us to see. They don't want to see us teach this history to our people.
Right. That one on the right. The one on the right. Yep. Look at that. Now put the one that Deacon Yaus had put up. Yep. Look at that. Look at that.
You can see that iron bar around. That looked like a female there, right? But look at the bar, the iron bar around the collar. You see it. Mm-hmm. Crystal clear.
Yep. And there was another picture.
There was the other one on the other side.
On the other side. Can you get that, Alicia? Yep.
Look at that.
Y'all see that? The same thing.
Show the whole thing. You got. There's more. Move it on over so they can see the whole thing. It's like two sisters. Okay, now you see it.
Yep.
Look that iron collar on that. That's on the building that they put up there.
These are the things that children should be seeing and learning in school. Because you ain't going to learn this in church. Right. You ain't going to learn it in school either.
And the name of the book is Jewish Pictorial History of Jewish Civilization. So when they were trying to tell us that we was in the wrong section, then we open up the book and show them this, they go running out the store.
Right.
I said, how the hell we in the wrong section? The books, they say if it's a book about pictures of Jews, let's see what they look like. Right. Then we open it up and it's black people.
Go back to the picture, the book. There was something I wanted y'all to see or read. Let's get to the writing that was under it again. Remember there was a writing, Alicia? Under the picture, right. Right. Can we zoom in on the writing right there? And go up. Right there. You see what it says, from a building erected by Ramses II in honor of the king's brave warriors from the period of the 19th dynasty. The 19th dynasty. Yep, that was it right there. Remember in the 19th dynasty, you had Ramses I, you had Seti, and Ramses II. Those were the three we were under out of the 19th dynasty. All right. Was there more y'all up? Okay, all praises. Now let's go back to Exodus chapter 4. And we were in verse 6 again, 6 and 7.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
Proving that Moses was black. All right. He was not a Caucasian. All right. Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10.
This was Moses making excuses when the Lord said, Hey, I want you to go back into Egypt and deliver your people. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue.
Now, you get these Edomites that say Moses had a stuttering problem. No, he didn't stutter. He did not speak Hebrew fluently. He spoke the Egyptian dialect. His Hebrew was not that good. What's the proof? Go to Acts 7:22 to show he didn't stutter nothing.
The book of Acts, chapter
Lord, get out of here.
chapter 7, verse 22. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Go ahead.
And was mighty in words and in deeds.
And was mighty in words. Was mighty in words and deeds. So he did not have a stuttering problem. Let's go back to Exodus. Go
Verse
back
11.
to Exodus. No. Exodus 4:22.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
Meaning we, the Israelites, are God's heir. That's what that means. We have the right to the kingdom of heaven on earth. We are the heirs, not the other nation. Although after the flood, we was the last nation to be born. God said, that nation right there, the Israelites, they're my heir. They're my firstborn. We above all nations. That's what he was saying right there. Everybody understand that? From there, let's get now to Exodus chapter 7. 7 and 7.
The book of Exodus chapter 7, verse 7. And Moses was 80 years old.
So Moses was 80 years old. Go ahead.
And Aaron 83 years old.
And Aaron was 83 years old.
When they spake unto Pharaoh.
So, I wanted that verse as a precept because I know a lot of times our grandparents will often say, maybe not yours, but I remember mine, I'm too old to change. No, you're not. Grandma, how old are you? I am 71. Well, Moses was 80. Aaron was 83. The reason you don't want to change is because you're rebellious. That's the answer. So we give them that verse right there because our people love to make excuses to continue celebrating Christmas and Easter and eat pork and shrimp and scallop. You wicked as hell. That's who you are. That's what you're wrong, Grandma, Granddaddy. You're the devil. So read that again.
And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old when they spake unto Pharaoh.
And remember, Miriam was older than them because Miriam was the one that, when Moses was a baby, took Moses down the river to Pharaoh's daughter. So she wasn't no little girl. All right, from there. When I say little, she wasn't a little girl, I mean she wasn't 3. I'll say that. So she was older than Moses and Aaron. From there, Exodus chapter 7, and let's start at verse 17 with the plagues.
Exodus chapter 7 and verse 17. Thus saith the Lord, In this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood.
And they shall be turned to blood. Hey, can we put that that false god up so y'all can see? Sobek, do y'all have it? Y'all got? Cause we got the papers here. I don't know if y'all have this. Unless y'all have this. Can you put it on the screen? Hey, where's that? Because I heard the deacon idiot that used to be here say, "Oh, you're not supposed to mention the names of their gods. You simple as hell." So why in the Bible you read about Remphan? You read about Baal, it means don't worship them. That's what that means. You're not supposed to talk about, shut up, you idiot. Yeah. So that first plague right there against the rivers, the ancient Egyptians worshipped a crocodile god named Sobek, which was the god of the rivers. Okay, so God wanted to prove both to the Egyptians and to the Israelites, there is no God but me. That's what he was saying. Because remember, some of us was worshiping this crap, following Egyptian philosophies. Read on, Captain.
Thus saith the Lord, in this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river. They shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink of the water of the river.
So you know what the Egyptians are doing? Praying to Sobek. Almighty this and almighty that. And nothing was happening. Nothing could help them. Read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying unto Aaron, take thy rod and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. Verse 20, and Moses and Aaron did so as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood.
From there, let's go to chapter 8 and verse 16. So that was the first plague. Now comes Exodus 8 verse 5. The second plague, I apologize.
Exodus chapter 8 and verse 5. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt.
So can we show that? Zoom in on that bottom first one. Below Sobek, the second plague. Zoom in on that. So the Egyptians had a frog god named Heket. Okay, the god of the frogs. So God was bringing up all these unclean frogs in Egypt. So the Egyptians were praying, take the frogs back. And they couldn't do nothing. God was showing the Egyptians and the Israelites, he is and there's none else beside him. Go ahead. Read on.
Verse 6. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt.
So the Egyptians said, we got magic too. We can make frogs come up, and they made frogs come up too. Letting you know that back then, there was spiritual power. Some of them did deal with Satan on a high level. Okay, read.
Verse 8. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, and said, entreat the Lord, that he may take away the frogs from me, and from my people.
Why didn't the magicians do it? Because they couldn't get rid of the frogs. They could do half the thing by bringing them up, but they could not get rid of them. Read.
And I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Lord. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory over me. When shall I entreat for thee, and for thy servants, and for thy people, to destroy the frogs from thee and thy houses, that they may remain in the river only?
So these frogs were everywhere. Go ahead.
And he said, tomorrow. And he said, be it according to thy word, that thou mayest know that there is none like unto the Lord our God.
Right, that was a reason. The Lord was showing them that. Let's get to the third and fourth one, Exodus 8, verse 16. Let's read down to 20.
Exodus chapter 8, verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
You see that? So this goes back to that god Beelzebub, or Beelzebub, Baal-zebub. Read down to 20.
Verse 18. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not.
They couldn't bring forth lice out of dust. They tried, but their magic wasn't that strong. Their mojo was not that strong. Go ahead.
So there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of God.
Now they acknowledge the finger of God. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, And he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. That's verse 20.
That was verse 20?
Yes, sir.
All right. Jump down to 21. Read 21.
Verse 21. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee,
Now comes the next one. I'm going to send flies now. Go ahead.
and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into the houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies.
So these were all kinds of flies. Hey, give me that precept in Wisdom of Solomon. I don't know I can't remember, chapter 5 or something. Or chapter 11 when it tells you about the flies bit them. These weren't no little New York flies. Not them flies. These flies bit. I know down south, North Carolina got something we call horse flies. Them things bite the hell out of you. Shoot.
I gotta look for it.
You got that, Ithon? Who knows what it is? The Wisdom of Solomon about them damn flies. Talks about Egypt. And I went through one that saw all manner of flies, and they bit them. And they bit much of the people. Who knows what it is? Somebody find that for me. 16 and 9. Thank you. Wisdom of Solomon 16 and
Yes,
verse
sir.
9.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16,
Right.
and verse 9. For them the bitings of grasshoppers and flies killed.
Y'all see it? The bitings of grasshoppers and flies killed. So they were being killed by the bitings of these flies. So it wasn't just one fly. And they go, ouch, that hurt. Oh, no, no, no. Imagine thousands upon thousands of flies on just you, biting you. That's some nasty, hurtful stuff. The sight is bad alone, but the pain behind it, tearing you up. Read.
For them the bitings of grasshoppers and flies killed. Neither was there found any remedy for their life, for they were worthy to be punished by such.
See that? For they were worthy to be punished by such. Why? Why were they worthy? Because they were praying to them things. God said, you're going to pray to that? What I created? I'm going to cause them same things you pray to bite the hell out of you and kill you. That's what was happening. Let's go on back to Exodus.
Yes, sir.
Give me chapter 9 and verse 3.
Exodus chapter 9 and verse 3. Behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses.
Now give me that, bring the picture back up of that fifth plague so we can see it. Why was these things upon the cattle? Because the Egyptians worshipped a goddess called Hathor or Hathor, idol goddess of cattle. And the way she's represented, if y'all look, can you zoom in on her head? She had these two huge horns like a cow. Not these American cows we got over here, not them kind. Them kind of cows you see in Africa with the huge giant horns with the sun disk in the middle, right there. That's her right there. And they did homage to that thing like you see the Egyptian praying to her. So God said, I'm going to kill all their cattle. Read on where you at, Captain Amazon?
Verse 3. Behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain. And the Lord,
Go ahead.
and the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt.
So he made a difference between the cattle that the Egyptians had and the cattle the Israelites had. Go ahead.
And there shall nothing die of all that is the children of Israel.
That's some heavy stuff. Go ahead.
And the Lord appointed a set time, saying, Tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow. And all the cattle of Egypt died. But of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one.
None of our cattle died. Go ahead. That's some heavy stuff. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go.
He did not let the people go. Jump down to next verse 8 about the sixth plague.
And the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, Take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, And let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt.
Right. The Egyptians had a thing about beauty. They used to pull that up. Yeah, Ketesh, idol goddess of health and beauty. That's what they honored. That's why we're getting on something about that vanity spirit. Always in the mirror for 5 hours. What the hell are you trying to fix? If it takes you that long to fix something, what are you trying to hide and cover up? What the hell's going on here? Hey, this is what you, hey, single brothers, raise your hand. If you 20 and you single, raise your hand. Let me see something. Okay, I'm going to give y'all a secret. If you brothers are talking to a sister, come Feast of Tabernacles, tell them, don't wear no makeup.
That's right.
I want to see the real you. Because they'll come looking like Naomi Campbell. The hell is this? Or Imam. I don't know if y'all know her. Or Rashumba. Or come in looking like Beyonce. What the hell's going on here? And they really look like Samuel Jackson.
Oh, shit. You ain't lying.
Woo! All right.
Samuel Jackson.
Where we at, Captain Amaziah?
Verse 10.
Go ahead.
And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians.
See that? Read.
Verse 12.
No, that was it. Jump down to verse 22 about the seventh plague.
Verse 22. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven. And the Lord sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground.
Right, give me that picture. Right there. They used to worship the sky god. The sky god protected them from any evil that was to come from the sky. Any kind of falling star, anything that came from the heavens. But the Lord was saying, no, I'm going to have things come from the heavens and kill you. That's what he did. Go ahead.
And the Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous.
There's a precept that says, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to think. It says the fire and the ice didn't. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Wisdom of Solomon?
I got it, Bishop. Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 19.
Wait, let me get it. I want to read that thing along.
So the 18?
1918.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 19, verse 18. For the elements were changed in themselves by a kind harmony, like as in a psaltery notes change the name of the tune, and yet are always sounds, which may well be perceived by the sight of the things that have been done. For earthly things were turned into watery, and the things that that before swam in the water now went upon the ground. The fire had power in the water, forgetting his own virtue, and the water forget his own quenching nature.
Right, because water generally puts fire out. Okay, it says the Lord makes sure that their natural things, he said, I'm going to change that around. So the fire was all on the water when this stuff came down. Was that it? Next verse.
Verse 21. On the other side, the flames wasted not the flesh of the corruptible living things, though they walked therein. Neither melted they the icy kind of heavenly meat that was of nature apt to melt.
Okay, let's go back to Exodus. And what verse you were in Exodus? Exodus 9, and what verse?
24 now.
Go ahead.
So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field.
Do y'all realize that Egypt was the world's superpower at that time? A lot of times we'll read about Egypt, And we'll just think, oh, it's just Egypt, a little dusty place. No, no, no. It was like the metropolis of the earth. All commerce, everything was done there in Egypt. That's why when there was famine, all the nations was going to Egypt for food during the time of Joseph. That was the world superpower. They had the greatest military. They had the greatest economic system set up. Okay, they had it going on there in Egypt. And the Most High made it so. And that's what you read about in the book of Romans. Remind me that we'll touch on that before we close out. I know that's your favorite thing, so you could go over that. Yeah. Go ahead, Cap.
Verse 25. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail smote every herb of the field, and brake every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail.
You see that? Exodus 10, verse 12. Exodus 10, 12.
The book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 12.
This is the 8th plague.
And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt.
No,
and
sorry,
eat,
it's the 9th plague. I apologize. It's the 9th plague.
And eat every herb.
This thing is mixed up here. I'm looking. Well, I'll look at it later, but it seems like I see 7th, 8th, then it jumps to 10th. Exodus 10, 12. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 10, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand.
I'm going crazy. I'm all old. I thought I said, look, it's above. I'm losing my mind. This is the 8th plague. Thank you, Ethan. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, and all that the hail have left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day, and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt.
And that's how they covered the whole land, because the locusts, they don't fly that fast. The Most High made sure they covered the whole land of Egypt. That's why he brought that east wind. That wind, remember they got them 2 or 4 sets of wings. That wind took them far and wide over Egypt. Go ahead.
And rested in all the coasts of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they. Neither after them shall be such.
What verse you at?
That was verse 14.
Verse 14. Go ahead.
For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herbs of the field, throughout all the land of Egypt.
Go to verse 21, please. This is the 9th plague.
Verse 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt.
Now, can we look at that? See that 9th plague about the sun god Ra, god of the sun. Hey, show me that on the dollar bill, Elisha. We'll read about the sun god and then not realize that that's the god here in America too. The same thing. Pull up the dollar bill, the seal of America. It's called a seal, the Great Seal of America. In the back, the one in the back. Yeah, you could click that. We'll just zoom in on the bottom one. Yeah, click that. The one on the left. That's kind of blurry. We ain't got one that we can see clearer than that. I want one clear, because I know the kids may be looking at it and saying, I don't know what I'm looking at. The Great Seal of America. Cheops pyramid, all-seeing eye. Nope. Not the eagle one. I want the pyramid. Is that one? Is that clear? Okay. Yeah, that's clear. Bottom left. Right there. Where it says, can we see the words? Zoom in bigger. All right, let's pull it up. All right, you see the all seeing. That ain't that clear either, but I'll roll with it. It says Inuit coeptus. Then you got the eye right above the pyramid floating with light around it. That's the eye, the all-seeing eye of Ra. All right. Under it says Novus Ordo Seclorum, New World Order. Inuit coeptus, our enterprise success. That's what that means. That's what it symbolizes. All right, let's go on back. I just went there to show you that America worships many of the same gods. All right. What verse we at, Captain?
Verse 15 we finished.
We finished verse 15?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. Then Pharaoh called.
Wait, we were in Exodus 10, right?
Yeah, Exodus 10.
Verse 21 to 24.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll read verse 24 again. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go ye, serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. And Moses said, Thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto the Lord our God. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not an hoof be left behind. For thereof must we take to serve the Lord our God. And we know not with what we must serve the Lord, until we come thither. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said unto him, Get thee from me. Take heed to thyself. See my face no more.
See my face no more. So there was darkness. Go back to that verse where it says there was verse 23.
Verse 23. Exodus 10:23.
Start 22 and 23.
Verse 22.
I don't see how I missed it. I must have been talking. Go ahead.
And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
3 days. Read.
And they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
Can we get that in Wisdom of Solomon? Because it goes into more detail about that darkness.
Yes, sir. Wisdom of Solomon 17, verse 3.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, and verse 3. Go ahead.
For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly...
Let's start at 2. I like the way verse 2 reads.
Verse 2. For when unrighteousness...
The Egyptians...
Men thought to oppress the holy nation...
That's what this is about. They thought to oppress the holy nation. That's us.
They being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of a long night, lay there exiled from the eternal providence. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions.
So when this darkness hit over Egypt, the Most High sent, I know a brother was asking about ghosts and all of that. This is what that's going into. It says, and troubled with strange apparitions or sights. Go ahead.
For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear.
You know how when it's dark, you're scared, you want to lean against something, so you get your bearings, you know where you're at. You in a corner somewhere, okay, this is that part of the house, I'm against my wall. They thought they'd be safe there. Go ahead.
But noises as of waters falling down sounded about them.
They heard all kind of noises of waters all about them. Go ahead.
And sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances.
Hey, you know, Alicia, you know that, what I'm thinking? Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a scene where they open the ark and an apparition comes out of the ark. And it's like a pretty woman, and then her whole face changes. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Because they were like, ooh, look at that. And that whole face changed. This is just an example. That's all I want to show that. You know what I'm talking about, Alicia? Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't know, you know the name of the clip? Somebody just Google it. Let me see. I just want to show it briefly. Laba, talk. Well, you at a loss for words, Laba? Wow. I am shocked. It says face melting power. That one. It's all right, Lava.
I know you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
You see it, Alicia? All right, put that up there. Now, I just want to show an example of, there's plenty of other movies we could look. That's only one that popped in my mind that I could think of. I really don't watch horror movies. This wasn't a horror movie, so I saw this one. You know, some people love horror movies. You like horror movies. I hate them things. They give me nightmares. Yeah, this is the scene. I just want to show you a strange apparition. You can move me out the way.
Marion, don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Marion. Don't look at it no matter what happens.
Strange apparitions. So you see, Esau thinks they close their eyes, it won't affect them. See the woman? He yells, I'm beautiful. You see the face? Don't look at it! Keep your eyes shut! That was it. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. So, we were at Wisdom of Solomon 16 with strange apparition. 17, I'm sorry. Read 3 again.
Wisdom of Solomon 17, verse 3. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances.
Y'all see that? And sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances. Depressed, sad faces kept appearing to them. Go ahead.
No power of
You got to imagine this thing. See, I'll go my little thoughts. Imagine you see an image of like somebody in your family that you love dearly. It might be a child, grandmother, whoever. And then that face just changed to death. Right, or you see a skeleton right there, and you are terrified. Go ahead.
No power of the fire might give them light.
So some of them tried to light fire, and it gave no light against darkness. There is no sun god that you could pray to bring you light. This is what God was proving to them. Go ahead.
Neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night.
So no North Star could clear up the night. There was no star in heaven that could pierce this darkness. There's a special black right here. Go ahead.
Only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself.
There was a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful. Go ahead.
Very dreadful. For being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not.
You got to imagine it's fire now. Now the only fire you see is like a raging fire around you. And you think you're about to get burned up.
You know what's heavy about that? Because you was reading earlier where the Most High said he changed the status of the elements. That was in the earlier scripture. Here you got fire. And you know that if you bring fire, it's going to cast light. Right. The Most High got a strange kind of fire where it just like, you see it, but it won't light up nothing. Just imagine that. You got a flashlight in your hand, and the only thing you see is the light on, but when you flash it, it ain't doing nothing. That's heavy right there. That's heavy.
Read.
Verse 7. As for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace.
So the magicians or the witches, that's another word for magician, the witches or sorcerers of Egypt had no power. You couldn't conjure no magic to change this darkness. You couldn't pray to the sun god Ra and ask him to light your way. It didn't happen. Can y'all tell a Kemetic community that? Because they simple as hell praying to these same stupid false gods. Okay, let's go back. We are in Exodus 12 now, 12:29.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 29. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon.
Can we put up the 10th plague? Right. Isis and Osiris, idol gods of life and death. Those two things, those demons, Isis and Osiris. We read about Isis in Jeremiah 44. She was called the queen of heaven. And Osiris was the king of the underworld. They're the ones that issued life and death, them two. And they were praying to them, bring forth life back into my dead firstborn child. And the Lord was like, nope. Read that again.
Verse 29. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
Every house, there was somebody dead in it. That's some heavy, fearful stuff right there. Go ahead.
And he called for Moses and Aaron by night.
What verse you at?
Verse 31. And said, Rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord, as ye have said. Also take your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing. Bless me also. Ask God to bless me. Go ahead.
And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people, that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, We be all dead men.
Yeah, see that right there, they sent us out from the land in haste. That's the key factor right there. This was a hurried thing. Go ahead.
And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs, being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders.
This is why we had unleavened bread, okay? It was in haste. We didn't have time for it to rise. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
So I want you to look at that verse right there. A lot of times, like you look at movies about the Israelites in Egypt, and you'll see them. Number one, you see it's wrong because they got Europeans playing the role. But then they're going out looking like bums. Right. When we left Egypt, we left rich. And let me tell you, I'm going to hip you out to something deep too. We were dressed like the Egyptians. Read that verse again, Captain. We didn't come out wearing fringes and border blue. We didn't have that on because that law was not given to us till the book of Numbers. Read that again at verse 35.
And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver.
We had all their jewels of silver.
And jewels of gold.
We took all their jewels of gold.
And raiment.
And clothing, and clothing, and clothing. Read.
And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required. And they spoiled the Egyptians.
We robbed the Egyptians. We took everything from them when we left. We were dressed just like the Egyptians when we left Egypt. Okay? Read.
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children. Read. And a mixed multitude went up also with them.
You had some other nations that was captive in Egypt too. They said, hey, we leaving with y'all. We running. God wasn't worried about delivering them, but they took the opportunity to escape. Read that again.
And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle.
Now, you got a lot of times people always say, what about that mixed multitude? That mixed multitude, give me that Nehemiah 13:3. Because Nehemiah mentions the mixed multitude. Nehemiah 13, verse 3.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, verse 3. Verse 3, yes. Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude.
Right. So when we came out of Persia, there was a mixed multitude with us there too. We had to get the hell away from them. Why? Because they were influencing, is that the word? Influencing us in evil against the Most High. So it amazes me when you see these congregations with mixed people up in there, mixed multitudes of people. We're supposed to separate from them. Okay? From there, give me Exodus 12, please. So those were the 10 plagues. Those were the 10 plagues. Actually, you know what I want? Before we get to the menu, give me 2 Ezra 15. the plagues. 2nd Ezra 15. I ain't going to keep us all night. 2nd Ezra 15. Pay close attention. And verse 11, I think it is. Yeah.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
So you'll read this and go, why is he talking about Egypt? Wasn't it destroyed already? The Most High is talking about this place right here. This, hey, give me the proof, give me the precept, Revelation 11. Yes, in verse 8.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
So this place is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, and Egypt, and Egypt. Deuteronomy 28:68, please.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
See that? And the Lord shall bring you into bondage again. That's what that Egypt makes reference to. Bondage again, slavery again. Read.
With ships.
With cargo slave ships. That's right. This didn't happen to no other nation but us. It did not happen to the so-called white man that lives in Israel today. They're a bunch of liars. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee.
By the way the Lord spoke to Moses. Go ahead.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
Uh-huh.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
When we got to this new spiritual Egypt that we call America, we were sold unto our enemies. Read.
For bondmen.
For slave men.
And bondwomen.
And slave women. Go ahead.
And no man shall buy you.
No man shall redeem us or save us. And listen, can we put the image of Egypt with the yokes of iron on the neck again? I don't want us to forget this thing. Can you put the slave ships up also? I don't want us to forget this thing. And the children got to know about that, because in their schools, if any of them go to, they're trying to take slavery out of the school system. I remember we was in Queens one day teaching, and a girl said, we were never in slavery. That didn't happen. Our school never taught us about that. It's amazing what this demonic man is doing today to the minds of the people. Give me some images up there. I want slave ships. I want yoke of iron. And I want the back of the dollar bill one more again. And I want the obelisk too, Washington, D.C. Give me that. We know what we're talking about. That's right. So the same way in ancient Egypt, we had yokes of iron like Deacon Yahushua showed you out of that book called Jewish Civilization. We had the same thing in this place, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt here in America. Okay? Same yokes of iron. Okay? And y'all see that brass iron around his leg. Made sure the brother couldn't run. Give me the one, give me the slave ship. And I will bring you into Egypt again with ships, with ships, with ships. That's the man that calls himself Jewish. When did you go into slavery with ships? I want to read this history. I want to see the artifacts. I want to see the proof. These are the ships. We were brought to spiritual Egypt. Okay? Give me the auction block with the man and the woman on the auction block. Black and brown people were sold on the auction blocks. Auction blocks. That's right. Native American Indians, the Border Equals was sold on auction blocks too. They like to erase that history. Yes, and they went into slavery on ships too, because they sent shiploads of what we call Latinos today to Spain. Read a book once in a while. These are the auction blocks. You shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. I want to see when a Jewish man and Jewish woman was sold on auction blocks. I never read the history. I never saw no artifacts. I never saw no proof. Give me the obelisk in Washington, D.C. What is it called, the Washington Monument? Give me that. Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. They got an obelisk there. They got an obelisk in Central Park. They got one in Boston, too, and Rome. I don't want the one in Rome. I want the one we at. Where's this one at? Don't give me no wrong obelisk. Just put Washington, D.C. You're going to put something up there, I'm going to get an email talking about that's not America. Try to embarrass the hell out of me. The hell is this? I know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Washington Monument. Washington Monument. Washington Monument. Okay, there we go. Now, see, now I remember, I'm familiar with this one. This one I've seen. I remember in school, they took us to this crap right here. Thank you, Abiel. Abiel's posting pictures to me now. Now he want to be useful. Thank you, Abiel. So, this is a real obelisk taken from ancient Egypt, the real Egypt. They brought that thing over here. All right? Give me the one, Central Park obelisk. Type that in, Central Park obelisk. No, I don't know how to spell obelisk. Is it O-B? Whatever, what they said. Yeah, that. I don't think he know how to spell obelisk. Somebody, or they're all black over there. Somebody help them over there. Yes, that is it. See, I'd go back into my memory because I've seen the thing. When I was, me and the wife, we used to always go to Central Park. I would see it, but I never paid no mind to it. But now that we know the scriptures, God has opened our spiritual eye. Now we know what we're looking at. This is Revelation 11 and 8, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Now give me back to the dollar bill. The same one you showed earlier. So we know what we're talking about. Yeah, that's a better one. Zoom up, pull up. There you go to Annuit Coeptus, Novus Ordo Seclorum. And guess what? What we're going through right now, here in America, with this martial law being underway, is part of Novus Ordo Seclorum, New World Order. Now, I don't want y'all to go crazy in conspiracies. Stay in the Bible. Stay in the Bible. Annuit Coeptus, our enterprise success. That goes with Job 5 and 12. It says, their hands shall not be, I can't quote. Give me that real quick. Job 5 and 12, I think it is.
The book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Go back. Annuit Coeptus, our enterprise success. That's what that means up there. Annuit Coeptus. Their enterprise is not going to succeed against the children of Israel. There will be no new world order upon the earth here in America. We in the last days, brothers and sisters. We are in the last days. I want y'all all to understand that thing. Go back to 2 Ezra 15 about them plagues. So God said in 2 Ezra 15:11, the same plagues that he brought upon ancient Egypt, he's going to bring right back here on a technological stage like Deacon Nathan brought up the other day. Read that again.
2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues, as before.
As before. Go ahead. On a technological level. Go ahead.
And will destroy all the land thereof.
All of America is going to be destroyed. We in the greatest time on earth. Come on.
Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it.
Y'all see that? Go ahead.
They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For
that
the
fearful constellation is going into wormwood when the missiles come. Go ahead.
For the sword.
Wait, read 14 again.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Read it again.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
This is saying the same thing Revelation 12 and 12 says. Get that precept now. Write that in your Bibles. Revelation 12:12, right next to verse 14. Oh, it's not canon. Don't read the Apocrypha. It's not canon. Oh, shut the hell up. It is canon.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 12.
And we're going to aim the cannon at you. Ready, aim, fire. Go ahead.
Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens.
Rejoice, ye heavens.
And ye that dwell in them.
And ye that dwell in them.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
See that? Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. We just read, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, saying the same thing. Go ahead.
For the devil.
For the who?
For the devil.
The white man. Go ahead.
Is come down unto you, having great wrath.
This is what we into. This is the time period we in. Y'all think this so-called COVID-19, Corona, Wuhan 400 is a coinky dink? Oh no, it's not. You know, in the news they said 500 people died in Italy because of this Corona. I'm like, where are the bodies? I want to see, put it on the news. They just throw stuff out there and people go, yeah. Believe any kind of madness.
Hey, Bishop, you notice that usually when you have a major situation that's going on, you get a notice over the emergency broadcasting system. How come they didn't put that over that?
Exactly right. Bringing in National Guard and all of that. Did you finish that, Captain Amaziah, that verse?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
The white man knows he has a short time to rule. So he's mad now. He's bringing out all this madness now. Go stay in your homes. Don't come out. Only by 3s or 10s. Some cities are 200, some are 1. People are being laid off their jobs, left and right. We're in that time right now where they're trying. And I know something's going on behind the scenes. They got everybody home worried, but Esau, the white man, the devil, is doing something conniving behind it. It's going to come out, too. It's going to come out what they're doing. That's why China said, no, we didn't start this. They said America brought this thing here. Y'all better believe that thing.
Yeah, but Bishop, you remember September 11? They say they were hurt by that. This thing here is like more than September 11.
Mm-hmm.
All these business, what after this is over, man, a lot of people are going to go back to poverty.
Yep, exactly. Go back to 2 Ezra 15. And what verse were you in, Captain?
That was verse 14.
All right, read that again.
2 Ezra 15, verse 14.
Here we go.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Go ahead.
For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands.
You know what they said was going on right now? They said white folks is buying up all the guns and ammunition all throughout America. I'm going to say it again. White folks is buying up all the guns and ammunitions. The patriots. They said their intention is to overthrow the government. I already see what's going to happen. Right, but we the hate group. White man buying up. Where's the SPLC now? They buying up weapons they know what's the weapons for? Corona? You ain't using guns to fight Corona.
They think that government going to turn against them. That's what it is. And they're looking at their own government as a bunch of thieves and criminals. That's what they're saying.
That's right. Read that again, Captain. What verse you at?
That was verse 15.
Read again.
For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and their course of their actions shall stand in their power.
They're going to do what they want to do. Go ahead.
A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able.
Curfew, you can't leave from this city to the next. Block the border, block this area. No, you can't cross over. Cancel flights. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
For because of their pride,
which is sin, go ahead.
The cities shall be troubled.
These are the plagues. These are the plagues that verse 11 warned us about. Go ahead.
The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Wow, come on.
A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation.
Didn't y'all see that down here? Remember the supermarkets all empty down here? No toilet paper, no food, no water.
Yes, sir.
Y'all keep playing with the Bible. You women, especially y'all, you keep on playing, calling people banned. Go ahead, read on.
Behold, saith God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me.
This is the battle of Armageddon. He's going to cause war like you've never seen before. Go ahead.
Which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus.
That's Lebanon. Libanus is Lebanon. Go ahead.
To turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them.
See that? And repay the things that they have done to the Israelites. The next verse is going to explain that. So this is all about payback. Y'all talk about the big pay. James Brown talking about the big payback. This is what this whole thing is about. You talking about vengeance is the Lord, or you have no idea how many levels it go to. When God says vengeance is his, he's telling us, don't worry, I got this. I'm going to pay back vengeance on them. Read.
Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen.
That's the proof right there. All the evil that they have done to the black and brown people here, the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. God says, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen. Go ahead.
So will I do also, and recompense in their bosom.
Recompense means pay them back. Judge them. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God.
Thus saith the Lord God. I want to read down to 24.
My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire is gone forth from his wrath, and have consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners, like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin.
This verse 24 I'm going to get to. This is what we got to be mindful of. The Bible says, with all those prophecies we just read about the plagues coming here, he says, woe to them that sin. This is about us, our people. Go ahead.
And keep not my commandments.
And keep not my commandments. Go ahead.
Saith the Lord.
Saith the Lord. Read.
I will not spare them.
God said he's not going to spare you.
Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary.
Defile not my sanctuary. Go ahead.
For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him.
We can't hide, brothers and sisters. We cannot hide. Come on.
And therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction.
So if we're here in the midst of evil, we hate our husbands, we hate our wife, we hate our kids, we hate our people. God said, I'm not going to spare you. Sure, you can hide in here with border blue and fringes. You can hide from the eyes of man, hide from the eyes of women, but you cannot hide from the eyes of God. Read.
For now are the plagues upon the whole earth.
For now are the plagues. We just read about the 10 plagues that had hit ancient Egypt. Now the plagues are here in America. Go ahead.
And ye shall remain in them.
And ye shall remain in them. Go ahead.
For God shall not deliver you.
Now that's some harsh things, right? God shall not deliver you.
Because ye have sinned against him.
Because ye have sinned against him. Now that's some heavy stuff right there. All right, before we close out, Exodus 12. And deacons, if y'all, captains, y'all want to jump in with something? Exodus 12. I just want the menu. Exodus 12. Start at 1.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls.
So this is why we told you, brothers and sisters, in the other states where they have this, what's it called? These curfews and these executive orders where you cannot gather with X amount of numbers different from state to state. Don't worry about that. The first Passover was kept in our homes, in our houses. So don't be stressed. You're not breaking no law by staying home. I know we all wanted to see one another. I surely wanted to see a lot of people, but it couldn't go down this day, this high holy day. But stay at home. All right? Go ahead.
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb.
So if you got a family of 3, you have a lamb that can support or satisfy 3 people. If you got a house of what? How many you got? 13. You got to find maybe 2 lambs to take care of 13 people. Go ahead.
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
So you could either have lamb or goat. You could have either lamb or goat. It does not say chicken. I'm going to say it again. It does not say chicken. It says lamb or goat. Go ahead.
And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
They killed it in the evening time. Go ahead.
And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
Because the angel of death was coming through to kill the firstborn. Go ahead.
And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire.
The Bible says roast the lamb. You're not supposed to boil it. You're not supposed to bake it. It says roast it, roast it, roast it. Go ahead.
And unleavened bread.
And unleavened bread. It's giving you the menu. Go ahead.
And with bitter herbs.
And with bitter herb is not lettuce. Let me say it again. A bitter herb is not lettuce. Lettuce ain't bitter. He wants us to remember the bitter bondage. That thing to make your face squint when you bite into it, go, yuck. That's what he wants. And that's what we going to get. Go ahead. Was that it?
And with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw.
Don't eat it raw.
Nor sodden at all with water.
And don't boil it. That's what it means. Don't sodden it with water. Go ahead.
But roast with fire.
He repeats it. Roast, roast, roast. Well, I see people on Facebook saying we don't got to roast it. We can boil it. I say these people are crazy. Go ahead.
His head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof.
Go ahead.
And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
So you are not supposed to have leftovers of the Passover. No leftovers. Eat the lamb tonight. Go ahead.
And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
It says burn the leftovers with fire. That's what God says. Okay, go ahead.
And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded.
Have your garments on. Remember, we were ready to go. We had to eat in haste, ready to run. Go ahead.
Your shoes on your feet.
Have your shoes on your feet. Laba, you say that? Shoes on your feet. Go ahead.
And your staff in your hand.
Staff in your hand.
And ye shall eat it in haste.
See that? Eat it in haste. Go ahead.
It is the Lord's Passover.
It is the Lord's Passover. Amen to that. All praises.
You want to Captain send them the ranking system? All right. I know. We gonna Cap. You ready for it? Yeah. We're gonna do the promotion, but before we do the promotion, I gotta bring a scripture because these devils on Facebook. You know, Laba, when you was doing the prayer. When you was turning the prayer up, you forgot to add one thing. The same way Mosiah got destroyed the Egyptian, you forgot to tell Mosiah to also destroy those who hate us here too. All these enemies that hate us, yes, we say it, get mad now. Esau and all these other nations who hate the Israelites, yeah, we pray Mosiah got destroy them just like he destroyed the Egyptians. Hey, give me Deuteronomy chapter 1. So, Captain Shema is about to read the ranking. So before Captain Shema read it, I want to bring this up. Give me verse 15. Read verse 15 and 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 15. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you.
To be wise men, you got to be able to study. We don't want no dumb men, no dumb officers. We want wise men, men who know the law. Read.
Captains over thousands.
Captains over 1,000.
Captains over hundreds. Captains over 50s. And captains over 10s. And officers among your tribes.
And officers, you know what that's called? That's called a ranking system. For you dumb niggas on Facebook talking about we all the same, you the devil the Bible speak of. And some of you believe that crap. Oh, this can destroy people. You a big dummy. Just shut the hell up.
Hey, Deke, you know what? In the New Testament, I'm going to say it again. In the New Testament, the same thing was set up when you read Titus 1, verse 5. Can we read that real quick, then go back to Deke?
Yes.
Stop listening to these Facebook idiots.
The
Read
book
that.
of Titus, chapter 1, verse 5. For this cause left I thee in Crete, that thou shouldest set in order the things that are wanting, and ordain elders in every city.
So they use the term elders in every city. They couldn't use the term captains and officers. Why? Because Rome had laws out that you could not set up a military under their dominion. So they use the term elders for order's sake. Okay, everybody understand that? And you don't understand, even the Mormons understand that. You ever see the Mormons? They'll have a 10-year-old says elder, whatever, on his little tag, name tag. Y'all don't see that? So what's wrong with black and brown people? Then from there, this is the last one, Malachi. I'll give it right back. I'll get right back to you. There's a precept with that in Colossians chapter 2 and 5. Watch this.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 5. For though I be absent in the flesh, yet am I with you in the spirit, joying and beholding your order.
Joying and beholding your order, your order, your order. Every congregation, there was order amongst them. I hope y'all understand that. Don't be deceived by Facebook dummies.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Malachi. I'm sorry.
Go back.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 16. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren.
You know what he said, judges, those captains, those officers, that's another name for them, judges. Because their job is to judge matters. And he's going to explain to you why. Read.
Hear the causes between your brethren and judge righteously.
You hear what he said? Judge righteously. For you to judge righteously, you have to know the law. That's why we cannot raise no dumb men. That's why some of you go and cheat on the test. Guess what? Now we're going to have to do the test all over again.
Right. Hey, we have redone the test. Every rank, there's going to be 3 separate exams, meaning there's going to be 3 different officers of 10 tests, 3 different officers of 20 tests, 3 different officers of 50 tests. And guess what? We're getting rid of that 25-point bonus question. You know what's going on? The bonus question on the 50 was 25 points. Yep. The brothers are taking it, failing all the judgment questions that are 1 point, but then because of that 25-point bonus, which is on history, they get that right and become officer. Oh, we changed that. And the ones that y'all promote tonight, they're going to all be retested. I'm telling you, I'm telling some people slipping through the cracks. We cannot have them judging matters with husbands and wives and brothers and sisters, and they be deep dummies.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cap.
And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him. Ye shall not respect persons in judgment.
You shall not what?
Respect persons in judgment.
So the scripture said, you shall not have respects of person in judgment. So as Captain Shema is about to read the ranking system. And by the way, Esau military, that's where Esau get this from. Esau get it from us. Now you want to fix this one in your mouth talking about, oh, nah, that's not in Israel. That's, no. You don't know what you're talking about. Even Esau know there is order, but not the Negro. Go ahead, Cap. No, don't do so.
All right. So here's a list of promotions. And also, soldiers that were raised up, just announce them locally in your respective congregations. All right. We're just going to deal with officers and above. So in Apopka, which is Florida, we have, and save the applause until after everyone is named. All right. Hold the applause. Apopka, we have Mishael and Micaiah, officers of 10. In Atlanta, Kenaniah, Hezekiah, Amiel, Yali, Adino, Adoniah, Shemuel, Hosea, Asher, James are officers of 10. We also have Officer Malachi, officer of 20. Officer Joe is now an officer of 50. Austin, Kaliah, and Ashael are officers of 10. Amir, officer of 20. Halez, officer of 50. In Austin as well, Joshua and Jacob, officers of 10. Birmingham, Alabama, Duel and Azriel are officers of 10. Abishai, officer of 10. Officer Yosef, Uriel, Eliah are officers of 20 in Birmingham, Alabama. Boston, Khalil, officer of 10. Daniel, officer of 20. Chicago, Yashar, officer of 10. Columbus, Hanak, officer of 10. Corpus Christi, Benaniah, officer of 10. Dallas, Aviel, officer of 10. Oh, also Dallas, we have Saint Michael, Tahan, Elijah, Azriel, Abiel. Is that Kasha, Aviel, Zanai, Karim, Shemariah, Milkama, Leon, officers of 10. We also have Jediah, officer of 20 in Dallas. I know I'm jacking up some of y'all names. Have mercy. Detroit, Kal-El, Benaniah, Ira, Moshe, Jeriah, and Daniel are officers of 10 in Detroit. Indianapolis, Abaya, officer of 10. Also in Indianapolis, Asa and Zuriel are officers of 10. Raleigh, North Carolina, we have Peliah, Hedekel, Tobit, Yarakab, Hezekiah are officers of 10. Jezreel, officer of 20 in Raleigh, North Carolina. In Jackson, we have Caleb, David, Malachi, Sethakai, Josias, officers of 10. Kansas City, Jesse, and Ariel are officers of 10. Las Vegas, Adriel, officer of 10. Los Angeles, Eleazar is an officer of 10. Louisville, Kentucky, we have David, Isaac, Jahim, Nicodemus are officers of 10. We have Gabriel, Uriah are officers of 20. Miami, Philip, Bezaleel, they're both officers of 10, officers of 10. Zacchaeus, Eliakim, Azaniah, Bezaleel, Zacchaeus, Eliakim, and Shem are officers of 20. Azaniah is an officer of 50. Miami has a couple more. Jakim is an officer of 10, and Lahad is an officer of 20 in Miami. In Montreal, Canada, Shemuel, Shemaiah, and Aliel are officers of 10. Nassau, Bahamas, Nehemiah, Reuben, and Elon are officers of 10. New Orleans, Azariah is an officer of 10. North Ohio, Abaya, Joseph, Uriah, Yaakov, and Jalil are officers of 10. Ohio South again, Amakai, Jeremiah are officers of 10. Kashash is an officer of 20, and Ashan is an officer of 20 as well. Hold on, I think I messed that up. I'm sorry, Oklahoma South, Jeremiah is officer of 10, Kashash and Ashan, officers of 20. Oklahoma City is Amakai, officer of 10. Kaliah and Elijah, officers of 20 in OKC. Shout out to OKC. Orlando has Micaiah, Jabez are officers of 10. It says Enoch, officer of 80. Is that Jacksonville? It says Orlando, but I believe that's Jacksonville. Officer of 80. Ottawa, Levi, officer of 10. That's Ottawa, Canada. Philadelphia, Officer Jezreel, officer of 50. Elihu, officer of 10. Pittsburgh, Officer Aaron is now officer of 20. Rochester, Adair is now officer of 10. Sacramento, Mattathias and Yohanathan are officers of 10. Seattle, Eliab is an officer of 20. Mattathias, officer of 20. And Elihan is an officer of 10. St. Louis, Ethan is an officer of 20. Tallahassee, Soldier Losias, and Soldier Hezekiah are both officers of 10. Toronto, Canada, Hananiah and Abdiel are both officers of 10. Nathaniel is an officer of 20. Tupelo, Mississippi, we have Ariav is now an officer of 10, and Israel is an officer of 20. Virginia, let me get them all. Hold on one second. Virginia, Michael, Ariah, Mike, Philip, Ariav are officers of 10. I'm sorry, Philip is officer of 10. We have Yosef, Uriel are officers of 20. Yowanathan, Yehoshua, and Chael are officers of 50. Washington, D.C., Remiel and Nicholas are officers of 10. Bear with me 1 second, y'all. Okay. And those are the promotions in all the regions. Give them a round of applause, y'all. One more locally here in Atlanta. Officer Mikiel is now an officer of 80.
You want to double check for right quick?
Yeah, I got something. I got to make a mention concerning the ranks. We have a tenure system. I don't know if y'all was ready for me.
No,
A tenure system. Yeah. Huh?
We didn't read that yet.
No, I'm going to read it now. Ranking tenure. Let me explain it. Member to soldier. This is, when I say tenure, that means that these are the rank, within their ranking positions is the amount of years that they have to hold on to those ranks before they are considered to be raised up above the ranks that they're currently in. Member to soldier, 1 year must complete Men of Valor program. Member to soldier. So a member that's going to become a soldier, he must also complete the Men of Valor program. Officer of 10, you have to maintain your rank for 2 years before you are to be considered to be raised above that. Officer of 20, 2 years. Officer of 50, 3 years. Officer of 60, 3 years. Officer of 70, 3 years. Officer of 80, 3 years. Officer of 90, 3 years. Captain of 100, 3 years. No demerit for 1 year prior to promotion is to be considered for next ranking billet. So that means that if you are in your final year, let me just make it clear. If you're in your final year of that particular tenure and you receive a demerit, you will have to go another year with no demerit at all to even be considered to go to the next rank. Do y'all understand that? So while you're in your tenure, while you're in your specific ranking group, and you're on your final year, you get a demerit, you'll have to go a whole nother year without any demerits to be considered to be risen up in the next rank. Okay. If they lose their rank, that depends on, there's certain protocols that if they lose their rank, we have a system where they can get it back depending on what the situation is. If someone is put out, then there's a mandatory 2 year. If someone is put out, is a mandatory 2 year duration that you go from a visitor to a member. You will not receive any rank for 2 years if you're put out of the body. And you would have to appear before the leadership in that respect. That will not be a local congregation thing, depending on what the grievance is. Okay? So that's it. All right.
All right, Cap, you say you're missing some?
Yes, I did miss Memphis. 1 second, let me go back up to it. Memphis, we have Solomon, Samson, Moses, and Titus are now officers of 10. Where's Officer Erel?
Hey, Officer Will. Where's Officer Will? Come over here. Come up here, please. All of you know to look at the camera. Don't look at me.
Mr. Salty. That's Mr. Salty.
All of you know Officer Well.
Shalom. Musa and Christ bless. Shalom.
All of you know Officer Well. Officer Well been with us when we was at Captain Amaziah's house, actually. This brother right there, he been putting a lot of work in Israel for a long, long time. What I like about Officer Well is that he take correction. Many time we correct him and he show that instead of getting mad, he come back and apologize or he fix it. He fix it. He always fix the problem. That's one of the things I like about him. And Officer Israel have potential to become one of the greatest leaders in Israel. Officer Israel, he got that spirit where he don't only give order, but he loves taking order. And he's good at what he does. So as of today, Officer Israel is the captain of 100.
Salty, 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 salty. All praises. You know I love you, bro. You know I love you.
So we're gonna expect a lot more from Officer Well.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he put that brother right there, put a lot of work, but we're gonna expect a lot more from him. Cap, you got more, you said?
Yes. South Carolina, Officer Kalaya and Aitan are now officers of 50.
Before we move on, where is Sister? Hey, Sister Dasa. Where's Sister Dasa? Sister Dasa, come up here for a quick minute. I want everybody to recognize Sister Dasa. Hey, brother, give me a favor. Turn the camera around because I want the people online to see something. We want to show them something. I just want them to see the decoration. Not the people, just the decoration. I just want to see the decoration. So now, the reason I want to show you this, as you know, what's been going on. They've been shutting a lot of stuff down. We cannot get together. Mosai shows little mercy here in Atlanta, not Weaver, Atlanta. Where's Sister Dasa? Where's Sister Dasa? Sister Dasa do a really, really good job decorating this place. I know she wasn't alone, but this sister right there, she like putting her foot on stuff. So all this right here was Sister Ada's idea. She, for a short time, because remember, we didn't know we was going to have Passover here. We only found out that, what, a week ago? I like that thing on the table with all the tribes. I think really look really nice. Can you get it? Showing all the tribes on the sign. I just want you guys to give Sister Adasa a hand. I don't know where she go. And all your sisters, huh? She left? Oh, she'll be back. And all your sisters who helped put this together, Officer, what's that been? New Year. Where's Officer New Year? Officer New Year, where is he at? He's also one of those officers who helped put all this, make all this possible. So also give Officer New Year a hand. Even though Esau changed a lot of stuff, like Revelation said, the devil come with everything they got, but Most High God still show us mercy. We just want to thank Most High for continue show us mercy so that we was able to keep Passover tonight. I know, like Bishop said, it's not a lot of us, but this is better than nothing. All praise for that. Cap, anything else?
Shalom, Israel. Happy Passover. I just want to make reference to the regional coverages of the deacons and captains over the regions. Just give me 1 second. Let me get to it. Regional coverages. This is actually in effect now. I just sent the regional coverages to the deacons. The bishop also has this as well. Myself, I will be covering what is known as the Southwest region. This is California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Indiana, and Hawaii. The captains that will be under me directly is Captains Hananiah, Amaziah, Captains Hananiah from New York, Amaziah of ATL, Zakai of New York, Captain Palu, and Zabud and Joel. So those captains will be hearing a lot from me. Deacon Ithon, he's smiling. Deacon Ithon, his region is what is known as the Northeast region. He'll be covering the areas of Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, Connecticut, Washington, D.C., and New Jersey. His captains are Captain Yadon, Mattathias, Kabash, Josiah, and Ezra, Josiah of North Carolina. Deacon Labakar, his region is known as the Northwest region. He'll be over the areas of Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Minnesota, Kansas, Alaska. His captains are Aryeh, Captain Gad, Naam, Aralai, and Tazawan. Had it. Deacon Malachiah, New York. The Deacon Malachiah. He's over the Southeast region. He's over Mississippi, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. His captains are Captain Shemaiah, make it, I know we had Shemaiah, Arama, Captain Yan, and Captain Dakar of North Carolina. Deacon Abiel, Central Region. He's over Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Louisiana. His captains are Captain Shem, Zakar, Ben Zion, Captain Sariah, OC, and Barnabas. Deacon Malachi is over the international region. His captains, the region, when I say international, meaning Africa and the island regions. The specific captains up underneath in the UK is coming next. Africa and the island regions, his captains are Isaac, Hananiah, Severus, and Ashanel. Now he also has captains over the UK and Canada. His captains will be Hoshea, Hananiah, Yadin, Gideon, and Ashanel. Did I? Okay, I'll have to put them in. I don't have them listed here. But we'll put Severus, and Severus will be over that region, will be the assistant captain in that as well. I think that's it. That's it. So give the Lord a hand.
So what you just heard is called order. You cannot raise a nation without no order. You got to have order. No matter what, God is about order. The same way God raised up the children of Israel in the wilderness, God set up Moses. Moses picked captains, officers, elders. It's the same thing we're doing. It's called a government. It's called order. You got to have order no matter what, where you go. So for those of you who don't like order, you already know where the door is. Prepare for failure. Because there's have to be order. That's the difference between IUIC and a lot of Israelite camp. Here in IUIC, we have to have order. Because we follow on what God say. Not what men say, what God say in the Bible. Bishop, you want to break bread?
Well, let me say just something real quick on that note. Without revealing too much over the open airwaves, all of you officers, soldiers, captains, you will be receiving many updates and orders to really help us organize. Okay, there's a lot that's going to be coming down the pike that is designed to really turn you men into gods. Okay. We talked about the 300 program. Do you know about Men of Valor? There's several different programs that are currently on the burner, ready to roll. So we were waiting to get to this particular day where we can begin to announce and make it official. So you're really going to start seeing a lot of things. And one of the things that I want to say, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to prevent bad seeds from getting up in the upper levels. We've experienced a lot of that earlier. And with any organization, there's trial and error. So we've learned a lot over the years. So when you see officers of 20, 50, and so forth coming from the programs that we're talking about now, these men are going to be well deserving of their ranks. You're going to really see that. We're not going to have people that's going to slip through and get way up here and become a problem. Because there's many things that are set to catch you behind. I'm going to just put it like that, to catch you. Okay? So we're not going to have no foolishness. So I'll just leave it at that. Y'all all right? Y'all sure y'all all right? Don't be nervous now. All right. And Deacon Asaph is going to be dealing with something different. He's going to be working more with the administration of IUIC. Okay? All right.
Alicia, you can go ahead and play that.
Shalom, this is Bishop Nathaniel. 34 times the Booster Club has been called upon and 34 times they've answered. Join the team today and help send the prophets around the world. 12 tribes worldwide. Shalom.
I can't get enough of this word, call me library. All you do is talk, I tell them read, I be your pallbearer. As long as my hands clean, I'ma teach, I let the laws tear. You rebuck your doctrine, can't believe I even fell for it. Yeah, can't believe I even fell for it. Yeah, one as strong as our weakest. See bodies dropping, no top models, no need for worries, cause God got us. See, masculinity need to be shown for real. And all of you that's cross-dressing would be dressed to be killed. Apollo Creed, but I'm hitting like I'm Holyfield. You counting sheep, but you the hireling, the type to flee. This for the meat, when the battle won, they gnash their teeth. I can't believe I even fell for their hypocrisy. Like it or not, it's Kwam Yasharala. Laws attached to the brain, medulla oblongata. We are not the same over here, we walk with giants. 10 toes down with the clay is mixed with iron. I can't get enough of this word, call me library. All you do is talk, I tell them read, I be your pallbearer. As long as my hands clean, I'ma teach, I let the laws tear. You rebuck your doctrine, can't believe I even fell for it.
Some people talk a lot, I just minister. In this race you gotta last just to finish first. I'm in a big league with the top prophets, warming up in the inside like
Hey, family, listen. As you guys know, IUIC is not small anymore. So there is some state, of course, we're gonna miss. But don't worry about it. We got it. Like I know we didn't announce Hawaii. We didn't announce. We didn't start Haiti. We got some people we was in Haiti. We didn't start Jamaica. So we're gonna miss some. We don't even start UK. So we're gonna miss some, but we got it. You got it. And the closing those we miss. In the closing we're gonna. All right. So just bear with us. It's a lot. It's a lot. That's why I always said. Because some of you think you can do what we do. It's a lot. It's a lot. We have a lot on our plate. So just bear with us. Because I know people complaining, oh, what about this state? What about don't? We got it. Just bear with us. It's a lot. Let's break bread.
So, Laba, you want us to pray for your headache? You ain't 25 no more, Deacon Laba. Hanging out all night with these 25-year-olds. Take your behind home next time.
Yeah, Bishop. Yeah, tonight the party don't start yet. It's tonight it's gonna start. Deacon Nathan says he's gonna do more dancing.
All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23. Everybody got bread and wine? Anybody need bread and wine? Who's missing bread and wine? You could just take this. They need bread and wine at the table over there by Soldier Benaiah. Come on, raise your hands if you need bread and wine. bunch of them raise their hand. Question, who got the new garment on? Brothers, who got the new garment on? Officer Nehemiah, come to the front. Sisters, who got the new garment on? Nope.
Shamara got the new garment.
Mother Shamara. Can you please
Captain
come
Jan,
to
you
the
got
front?
the new garment on, right? Yeah, come up too.
Oh, Captain
I want to
Jan,
see the
okay.
difference between the captain and the.
All right, go back, officer. Officer, go back.
No, there's two different
Oh,
garments.
officer, come back. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, Jan.
Shamara, come up. You.
Got his chains on too.
So if y'all take a look at the garments, you see the captains, the officers, and the women garments. Is there a different women's garment beside this one? It's the same. Is there a different sisters garment other than this one? No, okay. So get a look at not their faces. We want the garments. We know they look good. Can you model that, hun? Show them they can see the cape. Come on, grab it around. Come on, spin. Yeah. Look at the cape. Look at the cape. Y'all see that thing right there? That's some good. That's original royalty right there. Let's give it up. All praises. All praises. Lovely, lovely. All right, officer. Right. Yeah. Now go on. Go ahead. Open the garment so they can see.
Your thing.
Y'all see that? I don't see it on it. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. Good quality stitching. The fabric is great. All praises to the Lord. All right, Captain Jan, you up now. There you go. This is the captain's one. Yeah, that we talking about. Look at that. Somebody come look at this.
And the leather, Bishop, the leather.
And the leather. You got the leather on it too. You all right. All praises. So let's give it up for original royalty. All praises to the Lord. Thank y'all. Captain Yoshua's doing his thing out there, him and his team. They're doing a great job. Great job. All right, Amaziah, we back.
All right, everybody got bread and wine, brothers, sisters? Anybody else missing bread and wine? All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23. For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do shew the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. In the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
All right, brethren. This is the Lord's Passover. So let's do it right. Faith, patience, salvation. Faith, patience, salvation. Faith, patience, salvation. And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His what? His what? His what? His what?
They said it sounded like you got the corona. What the hell is this? Hey, where's the lion growl? Come on, man. Not your mind. What's going on? Riverdale. Oh, Lord. Now go. All late. Happy Passover, brothers and sisters. Now we're gonna get to the food, right?
Hey,
Happy Passover.
hey, well, Captain, anywhere. I gotta get used to say it. Hey, we ready for the food? The lamb? They ready?
Happy Passover, family.
You're gonna have to call it how you want them. I don't know how you want to serve it.
Captain Jan.
Scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.